Hey guys, welcome to the clubhouse. I'm Billy Jackson, and today's review is going to be on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Okay, now, I have to admit, the original trilogy of Indiana Jones is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I mean, there's something magical about those movies. All of them. I like all three of them. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was a hot mess, and I did not like it. I like some things in it, but not enough to really even enjoy the movie. I don't think I've even seen it for a second time. No, I saw it twice to make sure. Yeah, it's terrible. They announced this movie coming out, and I genuinely got excited. Harrison Ford coming back, and he's great in really everything. I mean, even in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, at least he was good. But everything else about that movie was, whew. So I was really trepidatious about going into this movie, and I didn't know if it was either going to be better or worse than Crystal Skull. So I was scared. And was it great? Yes! I like this movie a lot. Now, I have just a couple of little issues with this movie, but genuinely, this was a great Indiana Jones sequel. That being said, this movie is way too long. It did not need to be 2.5 hours long. You could have cut this movie by 30 minutes, tightened it up a little bit, and it would have been great. It would have been awesome. Not to say that it wasn't great, and a lot of it was awesome, but there were a lot of moments that just didn't need to be in this movie. And I hate saying that because I love seeing Indiana Jones, and Harrison Ford did wonderful in this movie. And there's a lot of oohs and ahs going on, and a lot of great humor. They didn't go full on let's be funny all the time. So I'm glad that they did not do that in this movie. But it had great Indiana Jones humor.
Give 'em hell, Indiana Jones!
If that makes any sense to you. If you're a fan of the original trilogy, I think you're going to love this movie. And there's a lot to love in this movie. But unfortunately, it felt weighted down about the 2-hour mark. You know, I felt that it was getting, to be too long, because when I felt like it was being long, there was still a lot going on in the movie that needed to, they were still chasing and still, a lot of action scenes going on, and the plot needed to be furthered. So, and I was like, gosh, are they really going to get to the end of this movie? So that was the only thing that I thought was bad about this movie. And I wouldn't even say bad about it. It was just too long. They really needed to cut it down some. And that being said, in the 2.5 hours, it was just action scene after action scene after action scene after action scene, which can be great at times if you have a great narrative going on. And it just felt like one entire chase scene. The whole entire movie was chasing after someone or something. And genuinely, that's how Indiana Jones movies are. I get it. Trust me, I understand. But it didn't have if you have the magic like the first trilogy did, this movie would have held strong for 2.5 hours. But it felt like it was trying too hard to have the magic without having the magic. And I think that had a lot to do with the score in this movie. It didn't have that bum 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 bum. It just had a lot of you heard it, but you didn't feel it. And a lot of the score is very powerful in the original trilogy. It didn't feel powerful in this movie. And it would have restored some of that magic that was taken away from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull if they would have done that. And unfortunately, they didn't. But that doesn't mean that this movie wasn't great. I mean, I really enjoyed watching the movie, and the crowd cheered when the credits started rolling. I mean, it was a wonderful ending. I thought they tied it up in a nice little bow. I heard some reviewers were saying that that they didn't like the ending. It was kind of non-climactic, and yes, it was non-climactic, but it left me feeling great, and maybe that was because of the theater experience, everybody clapping and everything like that. I didn't clap. I didn't feel like I needed to because I was kind of at the point like, gosh, I'm glad it's over, because I felt like it was too long. But everybody else didn't feel that way, so maybe it's just me, So I think genuinely you're going to go into this movie and have a great time watching a good Indiana Jones sequel. And that's great. So I would say, yes, go see this movie, but be prepared for it to be really long and for it to feel really long. And I hope you don't feel that way. I hope you have fun and have a great time in this movie, because I did. I loved every scene that was going on. Trust me. And you have to suspend some disbelief that an 80-year-old man can do some of the things that an 80-year-old man is doing in this movie. But it's okay, because Harrison Ford is that 80-year-old man, and it's Indiana Jones. Do I believe Indiana Jones could do this stuff at 80? Yes. So that being said, look, I'd say go out and see this movie and have a good time. You'll love it. And, if you wait for streaming, I think you'll enjoy it just as much. But I think it deserves to be seen on the big screen. So I'm giving it a good review, guys. Just not a wonderful, spectacular movie of the year review, which I was hoping it was going to give me, but it just didn't. But I still had a good time. But anyway, I'm rambling on. And, it's not all about what I think. It's about what you think. Have you seen Kingdom... I almost said Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. No. Have you seen that movie? Please say no. Have you seen The Dial of Destiny? Do you plan on watching it? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like my videos and subscribe to my channel. And as always, make yourself happy every day. And the only way to do that is to remember the only thing stopping you is you stopping. Bam!